This is your daily strategic dose by Kevin Mohler.
What's up? Top of the day to you. Excited you're here. Let's get into today's topic. So, the word crisis. What do you think of when I say the word crisis? What are some of the thoughts that come into your mind when I say crisis? Do you actually know that the definition of the word crisis comes from a Greek word that means literally decisiveness or a point of decision? Decisiveness or point of decision. So a crisis, the mental model that we need to take, the mind frame, the mental frame, the mind work that we need to do is to change our decision on what a crisis situation actually even is. Because if you are anything like me, anything like most people, when you hear the word crisis, you think of something to be avoided, something to work around, something to try to solve immediately, something to try to get rid of, something to shy away from, something that you do not want, something that is the enemy that you want to run away from. But literally, the definition is a point of decision. And crisis is not something to run from. In fact, if you use this in a negative way, then it will spiral. The second order consequences will spiral in your life in a very consequential way. And I can give you some real concrete examples. There was a guy that was struggling in his sales career because every single appointment he went on was a mini crisis. It was in his mind, it was like, I have to get this done. My livelihood depends on this. I have to close this sale. And that was the mental spiral that he found himself in. And what it did was it messed up his ability. And this is him sharing this, by the way. I'm just telling the story. But it messed up his ability to think quickly on his feet and overcome objections. And when he would leave and not get the sale and would leave and feel defeated and frustrated and upset, he would automatically start to recall in his mind all of the great overcoming of objections that he already knew, and he knew it well because he had studied and he prepared and he believed in his product and his service and he believed in the opportunity. He believed his clients needed what he was offering. He already had so much ammunition on overcoming objections, but he couldn't recall it. Why? Because his brain was in a state of a crisis. And what he started to do when he realized that the reason he wasn't getting sales was because in his mind he desperately needed them to save his career and to protect his livelihood, when he came to that cognitive reality like we're talking about today, he made a mental shift. He said, okay, I'm going to practice something. I'm going to go into the next sales meeting, the next sales appointment, and I'm going to focus on the fact that this is nothing more than practice. I do not anticipate getting a sale. In fact, I don't care if I do or if I don't. I'm simply going to go in, I'm going to have a discussion, and I'm going to learn from it. And guess what? He closed that sale. Why? Because he no longer saw it as a crisis. In fact, he studied it and found out that the excitement, the butterflies you get in your stomach can be used for good or for bad. Let me give you another example. There was a professional speaker. This guy was absolutely amazing. And he leveled up his speaking career to where he was speaking more days than not. I mean, he literally had a speaking engagement every day, 5 days a week. Oftentimes there are events on weekends, so he was actually speaking on weekends. And he was speaking so much that when he was asked, hey man, like how does it feel? Like you've reached your goal. Must be amazing all this speaking that you're doing. And he said, it is amazing. I love it. I love being a speaker. But it's actually hurt the performance of my talks. Because I do so many speaking engagements now, I do so many of them, that I've lost my nervousness. And I used to know when I felt nervous and felt butterflies inside my stomach that I was going to deliver strong. And now I don't have that anymore. I don't have that feeling anymore. So I say all this to say that those butterflies, that nervousness, can either deter you and keep you from reaching higher levels, or it can be the fuel that you accept as part of reality in the way that you look at a quote-unquote crisis. It is a point of decision. It is a point of no return. It is a point of growth. So we don't shy away from a crisis. In fact, we invite them into our life. That's how we grow faster. If we don't have butterflies in our stomach with what we're doing, then we're not living on the edge. We're not pushing the boundaries. We're not taking enough risks. We're just simply living comfortably. And if you live comfortably, the only thing that you should expect is either more of the same or something downhill, because everything that you want in life is uphill. It's not downhill. And you cannot coast uphill. You have to climb. So if we lose those butterflies, if you're placing a trade and you have conviction and you don't have butterflies in your belly as you watch the market bounce around, then you're playing too small. In fact, if you win a trade, you're going to reflect on it and say, man, I knew this was a good one. I should have aped in harder. I should have put more size on it. But I didn't because I was playing too comfortably. Butterflies are a good thing. That nervousness is a good thing. And a crisis is a point of decision where you can either grow from it or you can shy away from it. We don't run away from a crisis. That is not how you get to growth. We conquer it. We go in. And I'll give you one last example. There was a guy who was a pitch hitter or whatever they call it. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but long story short, this guy was known when stakes were high. When it was either win the game or lose the game, you're up to bat. Like this all hinges on you. It's a tie score or whatever, right? Circumstances are intense. And the game is on the line. This guy was relentless for going in there and executing flawlessly. So they asked him when they interviewed him, they're like, how do you have such a consistent record of going in when stakes are so high? It's either win or lose based on your performance, and you perform so well. And he said, well, I mean, I don't know the secret, but I can tell you what I do. I go in there and I focus on what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit a home run. I'm going to smash this thing. I'm going to save the game. I'm going to make a winning play. And that's what he focused on. You know what most people focus on? What if I missed? What if I hit it and they catch the ball and I'm out? What if I don't get a good pitch? What if I get a bad play from the refs? What if I miss the ball? What if I strike out? That's what they're thinking of in a point of crisis. He looks at it as a point of decision that says, here's what I come to do and here's what I expect. I expect great things to happen from this play. And it works. This is a psychological principle, but it's metacognition, your ability to think about the things that you think about. How do you think about crisis? How do you think about butterflies in your stomach? And how can you use that to grow? I've got a lot of butterflies right now with a lot of different things that I'm working on. But guess what? It makes me sharp. It makes me fine-tune my plan. It makes me fine-tune my strategy. It makes me fine-tune my goals. It makes me fine-tune my to-do list. It helps me prioritize my tasks. It helps me get up earlier in the morning. It helps me make healthier decisions so that I feel well and my energy is high and my enthusiasm is high. It fuels my growth because that crisis, those butterflies, that nervousness can be used for good or bad. I turn around and use it for good and live life on the edge, because if you're not living life on the edge, you're taking up too much space. That's all I got for you right now. God bless you. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
This is your Daily Strategic Dose by Kevin Moore.